Dan Grider, probable cause. It is September 29, 2024. Welcome. It's Sunday night. Glad to have you guys checking in our normal Sunday evening little get together here. If it's your first time, we have a little live chat thing going on. If you check the live chat box, you can chat with me and everybody else in here live at the same time. The video is pre-recorded and I shoot it sometime Sunday afternoon, but I collect all the information all week long, pictures, video, story, and kind of build something so that by Sunday morning I have a general whiteboard of what's going to go in the video for Sunday night. But anyway, if you're here with us, welcome. Say hi and let me know where you're checking in from. That's always fun to do. Kind of an interesting couple days here, and I'll get to the accident stuff in just a second. I've got all that stuff. I keep all this accident data. I do it manually. I collect accidents as they occur in real time, and I do the research, and I put them on these sheets so that you can see them. My idea is that maybe we can learn something from these fatal accidents on what the previous person did. And in the case of these two back-to-back Cirrus crashes that we'll get to here in just a minute, industry-wise, us in general aviation, we still have a problem with defined minimum maneuvering speed. We haven't ever defined what our minimum maneuvering speed is. We're still stalling our airplanes in the traffic pattern. And keep in mind, if you're in a Cirrus, a 210 or a 150, it doesn't matter. If you're below 1,000 feet and you spin that thing, you don't have enough time to do a spin recovery. You're not going to get it out from the traffic pattern altitude. If you're an airplane like a Cirrus that has a parachute, the parachute's not going to work. And in the case for the Probable Cirrus just the other day, the chute did come out, but not in near enough time. It was a stall spin downwind to base, and they did pull the chute. It's just that it did not have time. Prevention is all we got on these. And then also, ironically, we had two back-to-back mid-airs. One was in California involving a couple of warbirds out practicing, I believe. And then the other one was the one that we previously talked about, which was the airplane that was doing what I think was the teardrop to join, which is a descending right-hand turn and a left-hand downwind and hit that 206 out there. On the left wing of the 206, the little airplane, the Globe Swift, was doing a right descending turn and hit the left wing of the 206. They did have communication, but not near enough. They did hear the announcement of the Globe, and we talked a little bit about this week. Last week, I'll put that accident profile back up on the screen here right now. This is my guess as to what happened, but it brings into the concept here of the right descending turn inside the traffic pattern and why that is so ridiculous. There's been a lot of chatter about it here lately. Even Sporty's Pilot did a little blurb on it on their little thing that they published. Been quite a few YouTubers talking about it and things like that. Opinions vary across the board, just like pilots are going to have opinions on what they think. Some think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Other people, like myself, think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Crossing the field from the dead side 500 feet above the traffic pattern and initiating a right-hand turn to join the left-hand downwind in a right descending turn might be okay if you go way out away from the airport. But you got to remember, if you cross the airport at 1500 AFE, that's the same altitude your jets are flying their downwind at. You're in a direct conflict for the jets on the downwind. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I got a couple other topics, and we're going to zoom through these. Welcome. I'm glad to have you checking in here with us. And I do these every Sunday night. Guess what? I got no teleprompter. It's unscripted. I'm just going to talk, and I've got a bullet point, go right down the line in order. So let's get started. You know, my video opening from last week, the Jim Croce crash, the Beech 18 crash down in Louisiana. I got a lot of comment and good information for that. I had a lot of people contact me. I made some new friends and new contacts off of that. I am going to do a full-length Jim Croce documentary on what I think happened down there that night. That'll be coming out hopefully in the near future. I got several things kind of on the burner about to come out here. The Jim Croce is one of them. I've been working on that for a long time, but I'm going to give you my conclusion on what I think happened down there in Louisiana. And no, it was not a heart attack. The pilot did not have a heart attack during takeoff. That's what the NTSB said. It's completely ridiculous. He was totally fine rolling down the runway. He rotated, he pulled back with the yoke, and he almost cleared the tops of the trees, but he didn't. The act of rotating tells me he was not crumpled over in a heart attack. If he'd had a heart attack, it would have happened at some point on the runway. So the Jim Croce story, that's coming. Also, D.B. Cooper, part 3. Now listen, I was only going to do part 1, 2, and 3 and call it good. I've already got part 1 and part 2. D.B. Cooper is the nation's only unsolved hijacking in America. It's a huge story. You can Google the mystery of D.B. Cooper, see all about it. Go back and look at part 1, part 2. I'm going to do a part 3, but guess what? Now I'm going to have to do a part 4. Some things have happened that require me to do a part 3. That's going to come out in the very near future. There has been some specific changes and occurrences and things that have happened. I'm going to tell you exactly what those are. You're going to be shocked, but you're going to hear it from me first. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you the pictures and show you the footage and show you everything. I'm going to save part 4 for the absolute conclusion when our U.S. government actually concludes this for us and tells us who D.B. Cooper was. I predict that that is, in fact, going to happen. I'm going to save part 4 for after FBI does their job, and we'll take a look at that. Part 3 is coming up. So now we found the actual military rig. This is the D.B. Cooper rig. This is the one used November 24 of 71. This is what's left of the canopy. Richard cut it apart, probably for memento's sake, and used this. But here's the information off of this. This is the correct canopy. This is all that's left. This is the canopy that lowered D.B. Cooper to the ground the night of November 24, 71, wearing this rig. You know, last Sunday night we did a Zoom call. We did it the last 2 Sunday nights in a row, a Zoom call, kind of a big old free-for-all. It worked really good. I appreciate that. We're not doing one tonight, but we tested the concept. I will be doing those a little bit more. I got a lot of information, got to talk to a lot of you in person. The Zoom call can only hold 100 people, so it filled up pretty quickly with 100 people in the Zoom call, but it worked real good. Everybody did a nice job of staying muted until they were ready to talk, and I appreciate that. Here's a little update on Dylan's airplane. Dylan has 600 hours total time, and he's a commercial pilot with an instrument rating. His airplane went in for an annual. We had a couple suspect cylinders down around 68, so it caused us to do a little bit more investigation. We ended up going down to Florida to Don George Aircraft and picked up 2 overhauled cylinders certified with yellow tags, and it was our idea to put those on there. And I'm having our friends at Bold Warrior do the work for us. They're right here local. My friend Kent owns Bold Warrior. If you're interested in an engine upgrade for your Cherokee, these guys at Bold Warrior, here's the list on the screen here to show you their website. They can take any Cherokee 140, 160, 80, a Warrior, an Archer, whatever. They can put a 180 horse engine, a Penyan engine on this thing. Check out Bold Warrior. You can fly your airplane in, drop it off, and within about 4 days, you can fly it away with a brand new engine. Now, all that precludes a whole bunch of legwork in advance for that to happen. But if you want to order an engine, that's assuming that your engine has a good core value, and while you're running your engine and everything's good, your engine does have a specific core value. If you wait till your engine fails and blows up in flight, not only do you have a forced landing, but you also have 0 core value on your engine that you're turning in. Bold Warrior, check it out. Dylan will be doing a test flight this week sometime. It's his very first out-of-maintenance test flight. I'm going to send him out there by himself to go do that. I think it's totally fine, and I'll let you know next Sunday night the results of his test flight. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of video of his first takeoff on this cylinder that's now got mineral oil in it for break-in oil, and he's going to go out and put a few hours on this thing and try to break in these 2 new cylinders. Fantastic airplane, and we're encouraged to get Dylan back in the air and doing some more time building again. Yes, I do have the accident data from September. It's on these sheets. I keep these up to date. We'll be looking at this in just a second. Before we do that, here's a little video clip sent in to me from my friend Peter out in Spanish Fork, Utah. That's the same airport where the Paties live. They just had some kind of a little fly-in or something like that, but my friend Peter set up a booth, his second year, to have an AQP booth, talking to pilots, explaining what DMMS is and AQP and all that kind of stuff. So he sent me this video clip from his booth, and I'll show that to you now. And I appreciate Peter he paid to set up a booth all on his own to go do this and explain to pilots what AQP is and why it's so important.
This is me and my crew at the Spanish Fort Wings and Wheels Air Show.
My name is Peter Dudek, and I am in Spanish Fort, Utah. And this is my second year doing this. We set up a booth to promote our Rusty Pilot Club and talk about AQP for general aviation. And I had quite a few Rusty pilots come up to the booth, and they were very interested in AQP, and almost none of them had heard of it before. So I was introducing them to the concept and to the website that I have, and also Dan's YouTube channel, and telling them to find out about AQP and adopt it into their training. It was a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people.
You know, I'm still in a wheelchair, but my leg is healing. October 10, I get my next x-ray, and we'll take a look and see how everything's going. There's nothing wrong with my leg. I've got full use and dexterity. I'm in no pain and no drugs. Everything's good, but the doctor says I can't walk on it yet, which is fine. I'm in a wheelchair right now. October 10, I find out if I can start walking again. I predict I probably will be able to. For that reason, I went ahead and booked an AQP meeting in Jacksonville, Florida, October 12th. That's with my friends, the Holidays, Holiday Aviation Flight School. A couple of friends of mine down there. We're going to have a big party. You can RSVP via this link right here. I'll put the link in the description for this video, but here's the graphic for it so you can see right here. It's free. There's no cost. You can show up. You can actually bring Tupperware containers and bring home free food for your family for the next 2 weeks if you want to. Tell them I said that it was okay. I'm sure it'll be fine. Me and Dylan will be down there, flying down there, and staying Saturday afternoon. We're going to stay over Saturday night, courtesy of the Holidays, and then we're going to come back Sunday morning, and that's October 12th. Don't forget about Tenerife. That's the location where the two jumbo 747s hit nose to nose back in 1977. We are locked, solid, and booked. We have a huge group going on that thing. If you want information on tagging along on this trip, I am not a tour guide. I'm not offering a tour. This is not a package deal. We're going to Tenerife, which is actually TFN. That's where the accident happened. We're flying into TFS, which is the southern airport. I am going on United on November 5. That's the evening of the election. I'm going to try to get out of town. We're going on the evening of the 5th to TFS, renting a van, a large 14-passenger van. If you fly into TFS with us and want to ride up to TFN, that's the airport to the north. We're staying at the Marriott. 2 nights in a row there. That'd be November 6th and 7th will be our nights in the Marriott. You can stay anywhere you want to. You can do your own accommodations. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to go with us, you are welcome to, and I'll try to help you out all I can. I'm bringing a car. I could use a hand-carrying gear and luggage and stuff like that as we interview, film, and shoot footage at the Tenerife site and all the things that we're trying to get done to tell the story on what truly happened in 1977. Lots of opinion, lots of speculation. You've all heard all about it. It's more than, I'll have to get this number right eventually, more than 500 people died instantly in this crash where the two airliners ran together because they did not know each other was out there on the runway. So that's coming up, Tenerife. And check out the schedule. Here's my email address. If you'd like to send me an email concerning Tenerife, send it to this email address. You know, we've had quite a few unrelated airplane accidents, but just to bring in the concept here, Delta Airlines lost 2 people here about a month ago at Delta changing a tire. And what happened was the rim off of a tire exploded. A third person was seriously hurt. 2 people killed instantly as that tire exploded. And come to find out, the first person who was closest to it was actually a painter working overtime in the tire shop. He was not qualified. He was not an A&P. But this is a common thing going on in the airlines right now. They're borrowing people from other departments that are non-A&P, non-mechanics at a much, much lower labor rate and putting them in these other shops to do work. Most of the time, that's well and good. In a critical function, there needs to be absolute supervision, and these 2 guys, apparently non-mechanics, were taking this tire back apart after it had already been assembled and aired up when they discovered it still had a leak. So they went to take it back apart, but they did not deflate it before they took it back apart, and they got this thing coming apart. And if you've ever seen a wheel halve on a truck, these are the wheel halves. There's no debris off this thing. These are just the wheel halves that become, this is the actual core where the axle goes inside. This is a big, huge chunk of metal, and when this thing lets go, it becomes a cannon. It killed both of these guys instantly. The third guy was standing in the area and he was severely injured. But in the workplace here, we got to be really careful, especially having proper supervision, following proper procedures for what we're doing here, and doing it by the book is critically important. We're really lucky in the United States. We rarely have a maintenance TOC type fatality in the workplace, which is really good. Our deepest condolences to these two families and friends of these two individuals. I could give you the whole story on both of them, but it's a heart-wrenching story and could not be any more ironic on the two that were killed in that. Here's a video from down in Florida. This is my friend Kermit Weeks was moving a DC-3 and kind of got stuff cattywampus. Kermit ended up pulling on the tail and pulling on the landing gear at the same time. Remember, the DC-3 has landing gear that buckles in the middle. He attached a rope to the front thinking that he was going to keep it from going too fast as he was pulling it by the tail going backwards. However, he did not have gear pins in, and keep in mind, whenever you're working around aircraft, standing underneath it is a really bad idea.
Yeah, I think if you head mount towards that bush there, it's going to be a little bit less of a slope than to the right. Yeah, I think if you head mount towards that bush there, it's going to be a little bit less of a slope than to the right. Oh yeah, the crane, that's not going to be a problem.
So if you can tell here, Kermit says he doesn't understand what the problem is or what could have gone wrong.
Well, so much for that. I don't know what happened.
Well, I can tell you what the problem is. You tied ropes to the landing gear. You didn't have gear pins in. And as this airplane was being moved backwards, you put too much stress on this rope and it actually buckled both of those halves on both landing gear at the same time. Fortunately, nobody was hurt down there. My good friend Kermit Weeks does a great job on a lot of stuff. If you ever get a chance to go visit his museums and things like that, he's got a lot of artifacts, does a lot of really great work on preserving the history of a lot of really cool aviation artifacts, and I'm totally thankful that nobody was killed in that accident down there.
Oh yeah, the crane, that's not going to be a problem.
Well, that catches it up all the way down to the nitty-gritty. I'm going to show you this piece of paper right here. I'm going to put it on your screen. This is September. I'm not very happy with September so far. Here it is on your screen here. But so far, as of today, in the year 2024, we're sitting at 16 general aviation fatals. And I'm going to go back and take a look at the last couple of them here, starting with the Globe in Nevada, the midair Don Bartholomew. This is the one that we've already talked about that I believe was a teardrop to downwind, a right descending teardrop turn. Here it is on your screen. Here's the graphic that I built. Not guaranteed that this is accurate because the Globe did not have ADS-B out, so we don't know. Right after it was the CJ-6A out in California. This is another midair. Two warbirds flying together that apparently got too close. The propeller ended up in the body of the other airplane. Ryder Adams, 62 years old, lost his life in that tragic midair. Formation flying is dangerous, and it's a specific skill set. It's a tremendous amount of fun, but boy, you have to really watch and you have to really know what you're doing. It requires a good briefing, and it requires a lot of skill to be able to pull that off. You look away for 1 second and get your eyes off the airplane that you're flying off of. It can be really bad. So I have seen in my day, I've seen some things go catastrophically wrong that could have ended up in something very similar to this. Got pure lucky almost every single time on something like this. So I've never witnessed a formation midair, but it does happen, and that's what happened to Ryder Adams. Let's take a look at the next one on here. The S1 in Tennessee, that's an air show. Daryl Whitaker, he's an Australian, 51 years old. He was trying to do a low-level waiver. They had somebody on the ground observing. The observer was supposed to be certifying him for the next lower level. Remember, in aerobatics, you get certified for levels. This level, then you get certified to go lower and go lower and go lower. If you have a surface level waiver, that means you can do anything you want. You can go upside down, inverted. You can go as low as you want to during an air show. They don't hand out a lot of surface level waivers. Apparently it's a skill and experience thing, and you have to know somebody and probably pay somebody off to get your surface level waiver. I've never understood why you want to go lower. If I was doing aerobatics, I'd want to go higher where people could see me. I don't want to be down there on the runway where you can't see me doing anything. Put this thing up here at 1,000 feet and do your loops and rolls nice and high with smoke on where everybody can see you. Anyway, our deepest respects and condolences to Daryl and his family. The aircraft ended up in the river. He did not survive. His wife and daughter were there at the time. So a horrible afternoon out there. Here's the next one right after Daryl's was the one in Florida. That's the trike that we still don't know very much about. That's down near Z Hills, a pilot and a passenger. So we lost 2 people off that. And then the back-to-back SR-22s. The one in Utah was definitely a go-around. He flew in there on his first landing. He got in formation with a airplane who was either a touch and go or taking off, but he did a go-around. And I talked to one person who was standing on the ramp and watched the go-around. That person was a CFI with a student, and as they stood there and watched it, the student thought it was really cool because it was a formation takeoff. And he said, no, this is not a formation takeoff. You're watching a crisis in progress. This is the SR-22 doing a go-around, and it's flying wingtip to wingtip with somebody he didn't know. They finally got separated out, and the Cirrus brought it around. The other airplane ended up ahead of them on final and was going to land. This is going to be the Cirrus's second attempt at landing on the downwind leg, turning downwind to base. The airplane got slower and slower. It stalled. It spun. I think they were concentrating on watching the aircraft ahead of him and did not pay attention. This is loss of speed awareness. I think they did not pay attention to their speed, and that spun at the last second before they hit the water. They did pop the chute. Of course, the chute did not work. They did not have time to do a spin recovery. They did not have time to get the chute out below 1,000. The chute's no good. Spin recovery is no good. All we have below 1,000 is prevention. That is all we have. And we lost several people off of that. I have their names and pictures. I'll put those on the screen here right now. A horrible loss out there, a senseless loss. Remember, prevention is no accident. We have to prevent these by paying attention to what we're doing. Speed is life. In the airlines, we pay close attention to speed. Speed is everything. Speed is life. Pay attention to your speed. Know what your min speed is. It's not 100. It's not 90. There's a min maneuvering speed for your airplane. I don't care what kind of airplane you're flying. You do have a defined minimum maneuvering speed, and you better learn what it is. The next one was Kitty Hawk. This is the little Kill Devil Hills airport right there where the Wright brothers made their first flight. This accident made its impact just several hundred yards from where the Wright brothers made their very first flight. Same thing here. This airplane brought it around, except this Cirrus accident did not involve another airplane. It tried to get into this little 3,000-foot strip, and it did not work. On the first attempt, they went around. Here's the ADS-B track of this thing. They went around and brought it around for a second time. Both laps, to me, look almost identical in track, altitude, and speed. Almost identical. On this next one, again, for a second time, for whatever reason, it did not look good, and this pilot went around. I got one witness that watched it happen that was not a pilot, watched the power come in and the nose come up, and as soon as it was up above about 300 feet, it dropped a wing and it spun and it hit a huge fireball. This was a messed up go-around from a go-around trying to get into this airport, this 3,000-foot strip. And that brings us to the very end of what we got so far. That's all I know of here for today. I'll give you the data. I'll put this on the screen here. As of today, we have 119 general aviation fatals. As of today, 1 year ago, for the exact same time, which was 272 days consumed in the year 2023, as of today, we've consumed 273 days and 119 accidents. So there were 15 less. Not good. I'd like to see that number quite a bit better. But as of today, we're at 13.294 fatals per month for the year 2024. And then if you look just above that, 14.98 fatals per month in 2023, which is basically 15 per month in the year 2023 as of today. We got 3/4 of the year done. We only got 3 months left. We got October, November, and December to finish this thing up. How will we do? Well, we were looking outstanding. We're still looking good. I think we need to take specific effort to pay attention to go-arounds. You guys out there, you're not ready. When you mash that throttle, the nose comes up and you're off to the races. You're not ready for a go-around. You don't know what your defined minimum maneuvering speed is. Why can we not figure out what our defined minimum maneuvering speed is and honor it? I think that we should. I think that would be a really good idea for all of us to do to keep you off of this paper. There's nothing wrong with the weather. There's nothing wrong with the airplane. There's nothing wrong with the engine. There's nothing wrong with these things. We're killing ourselves doing the same stupid stuff over and over again. Once again, thanks for hanging in here with us on a Sunday night. Watch for these videos coming out in the very near future. I've got quite a few that are going to be kind of bombshell style. It is what it is, and I'm going to produce and put them out there. Those videos will be permanent. The Sunday night ones are only on there for 6 days. The permanent ones, documentary style, will stay up there for forever. Jim Croce's going to be up there. DB Cooper Part 3 is going to stay up there for forever. Plus, I've got one more documentary that you are not going to believe. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to. If you don't like, then definitely don't hit a like. But if you do like, hit a like and subscribe so you can be alerted to when these new videos come out, and pay attention to what's going on out there in the YouTuber world. All right, I'm going to get out of here and get this video up and on the air. Good night to all y'all. Thanks for hanging in here with us once again. For my tiny little itty-bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Grider. Probable cause.